Hey guys, what's going on? Well, this is just a video, quick video, well, not a quick video, but a video on remote speaker mics. By the way, they do have a new, it's called an NTN, or NNTN 8203. It's an APX XE remote speaker mic. This is what it looks like. Go on the Motorola website and you can check this out. It does have an emergency beacon when you push the man down button on the top. The beacon will activate and it will go through up to 10 feet of smoke. If somebody's in trouble, that will allow the firefighters to actually find them. It does come with dual microphones. It's got about a 50% louder speaker in them. I think it might have more than one, but you can go through and you can read the specs on it. But they're incredible microphones. If you've got an APX, I would get one. But you know, I mean, APXs and this microphone itself. This is a very large microphone. It does have a lot of innovative features that aren't on the other remote speaker mics like these, but they're very good. They do have a display on them, and they've got things that will, like if you're climbing up a ladder, you know, they're made mainly for fire departments to prevent accidental transmissions and enable positive transmissions. Anyway, you can find that out on their site. The people who have written me and asked me about mics, it's a lot easier just to make a video of them and answer the questions that way, because I'm getting hammered with questions and I just don't have time to do it. Okay, this is Commander 2. This is a GPS mic. It does have the emergency man down. It's got the channel selection on the top. It's got the volume keys on it. It does have 2 programmable side buttons. It's got a 3.5 millimeter earphone jack. It's a heavy duty mic. You can see the build quality is compared to a Jedi mic, which is a very good mic. These mics are fantastic mics. I will never knock a Jedi mic. If you use one, you'll be very happy with it. But this is a GPS mic, and for this mic to work in the GPS mode, you've got to enable in your CPS, you've got to do several things. You've got to enable in the GPS the satellite tracking. You can see that satellite symbol there. That's just showing that the microphone is communicating with a radio and it's active. But that signal will not, you can't just buy the mic and buy the radio and expect results from GPS. You've got to have, it's just like a telephone interconnect, you've got to have the hardware on the other end. If the dispatch console doesn't have a GPS locator, then you're pretty much out of luck. If you don't have a telephone interconnect, you can't make DTMF, you can't make phone calls. So, you know, I mean, and also I do want to point out, there's a lot of people that are selling radios on eBay, and they'll have maybe one or two channels programmed in to the radio, even if it's a 5000, and even though it's FPP. What people don't realize, and I've run into this, people contacting me a lot, and they think that FPP is just right out of the box. Number one, you've got to have Q52 and Q53. Also, I'm trying to think here. If you get the radio sometimes those code plugs, and I've run into this myself. The radios will have maybe 2 channels programmed into it, 1 zone programmed into it, just the basic things. So, when you get a radio that's a 5000 or 2500 with FPP, that doesn't mean you can just get the radio out of the box and start programming in channels. You've got to go into the CPS and you've got to put the zones in, you've got to add the zones, you've got to add the channels, you've got to add the scan list, you've got to sync it all together. The CPS is a very layered system, and it's a complex system, but it works well, but you've got to get everything right. The radios I sell have 48 channels out of the box, and the scan lists are set. So unless I get a radio in and somebody just wants it right now, if they've got the program, I don't worry about it. But at the same time, I want whoever's buying a radio from me to be able to get it out of the box and at least have 48 channels they can immediately program into the radio and use the scan lists accordingly. Also, there's a lot of the radios, they're just not set up in the CPS. So, just because it's an FPP radio, that doesn't mean you can just get it out of the box and start programming it in. There are a lot of features that are in the CPS that must be on, must be working, must be configured before that radio will actually give you what you need to do to communicate. If there's 1 channel, yeah, well, you've got 1 channel. If there's 2 channels programmed in, you've got 2 channels. That's it. Then you've got to send it off, and you've got to have somebody with a program load the channel numbers in, and load the do the scan lists. If you want channel announcement, that's a whole nother bag of cats. And there's a lot that goes into that. So just keep that in mind if you're going to buy an XTS5000 or 2500. Ask the seller if the unit that he's selling has at least however many channels you want programmed in. If the zones, if it's got they go in zones 1 through 16 channels per zone, and you just go up from there. You add zones, you add conventional personalities, you link them all together, you do the scan list, you link that, and that's kind of how it works. So don't expect the radio to be exactly what you want if you don't have the program to actually go in and work the code plug, because there will be a lot of features on these radios that you don't have access to unless you've got the program. So it's just that simple. These radios are front panel programmable, but again, unless it's set up in the CPS, you don't know what you're getting. So ask questions when you're buying a radio from somebody, because they may only have 1 or 2 test channels programmed into it. I've run into that myself. I got the program, I go in, I set the code plugs up, and I load it up as best I can and make it to where when you get it out of the box, you at least have 48 channels to go with, and you've at least got menus. Sometimes the menus won't even, sometimes you'll just have a couple menus that'll be really silly menus. I've got zone, battery, and FPP. These are all programmable into the CPS. You add it in, you add the menus in. It's the same way with digital and analog transmissions in the FPP. When you get to the PL, or the RX type, this is programmable in the CPS. So, you're not going to have access to some things when you get a radio if the code plug hasn't been configured. And so, just fair warning on that. But anyway, that's not what we're getting into. But hell, how many minutes am I in? 10 minutes. Shit. Anyway, remote speaker mics. This is the GPS model. It does have the satellite tracking. They're made very well. They're very expensive mics. I've got a couple of them. I've got Commander 2s. I'm not selling Commander 2s. I'll sell the ones that aren't this model, but this model of Commander 2 I keep. I keep for the use on my radios because I like this style. If you want the older kind, yeah, I've got them. But anyway, I've got them with channel selection, I've got them without. This is just the standard Commander 2. It doesn't have GPS, but it has everything else. And one thing on these Commander mics, you know, you've got your programmable channels. You've got a lot of things that you can set in the CPS on here to actually get it to get it programmed correctly, in talk around, in scan, and just like on this mirrors channel, this isn't set for scan right now. When I push this, where's your scan? Well, I'm up 4 zones. Let me go back down to the home channel. Okay. Push the scan button. There's your scan. So, you know, I mean, again, fair warning out of the box. You better contact whoever you're buying that radio from, because if it's not loaded in, there's going to be a lot of features you're not going to have access to unless you've got the CPS to do it. It's just that simple. But this is the Commander 2. It's got the top channel selection. It does have the emergency man down button, volume, low, high. Well, it's actually variable. You can see that there in the diagram. And the side programmable buttons and the man down button is programmed. You can do this to nuisance delete as well. That is set when you get a channel set in that's actually active, and it's an annoyance. You can have this set to nuisance delete. That's what I do. I turn that thing off if I get traffic from a channel I don't want. This is a Commander 2 as well, but this is the Commander 2 that doesn't have channel selection. A lot of people like these. I do too, but I would rather have the channel selection. One thing I do want to point out is these Commander 2s will not work with the 2500. They simply will not do it. They'll work with the 3000. They'll work with a 5000. They will not work on a 2500. There's a big oversight on Motorola. I don't know why in the hell they did that, but they did. This is the kind of mic. This is the next generation up from the Jedi mic, and this one is NMN 6191C. These are very good mics. They're light. They're compact. They're pretty reasonable to get. I've got a lot of these, but anyway, and these are brand new. All the Jedis, in fact, really all the mics I've got are brand new. I don't have any used ones right now. The Commander 2s are brand new. I haven't had them. I've tested them, but I haven't had them out. There is one GPS mic that I've got, and this could be it, that has a couple scuffs from little box wear on it. But anyway, this is a wind porting mic, and if you've got a 2500, this is probably the mic that you would want to go with, unless you want to go with a public safety mic. Go with a public safety mic. You're going to have an RF connector that goes in here. You're going to have the wrench to tighten it down, and you're going to have the proper connection, which will plug into the RF adapter, and that also will RF adapters will also work on the XTS5000s as well. Those are good when you put them in a converticom and it takes over the signal. So there's a lot of different aspects to it. The 2500s are great radios, but they should have made the Commander 2s compatible. They didn't. And it's an oversight, but at the same time, these are fantastic mics. They're very good. They do have wind porting on them. They do have the 3.5 millimeter earphone jack. Let me see if I can get that here. 3.5 millimeter earphone jack, and they're very good. But this is the updated model to the Jedi, and I don't know if I gave you the model number, but you can see here PMMN 405 or 4045A. So these mics work fantastic, but again, channel selection, you don't have it on these. On a 2500, don't go out and buy one of these mics hoping that it's going to work. It's not going to. It will work on a 3000, it will work on a 5000. These will not work on a 2500. And I just bought a mic, I think it was a Commander 2. A guy bought it, brand new, and he thought it would work on the 2500. It didn't. So I bought it. But these are the difference in the microphones. You've got your GPS, which if you do have the hardware on the other end, if your console is enabled for that, then and you've got the signal and everything set up on the hardware end on the other end, then that mic is a great mic for you. If not, go with the Commander 2. You can either have top dial selection, channel selection, or you can go with just the standard. These are fantastic mics, fantastic. This one's a little more harder to get. Shouldn't be, but it is. And a lot of the people don't like the top channel selection. I do. I think it makes sense, and I think it's very good. They're just great mics. Yeah, here's. But again, on these, let me go back down. On these units, there we go. On these units, make sure that you know what you're doing when you buy a 5000 that's FPP enabled. Make sure it's Q52, make sure it's Q53. Also, be prepared to have that radio. If you don't have the program, make sure you have that radio sent to a reputable programmer who knows his stuff, who uses good equipment, and who will program that radio up for you and load the code plug the way you want it. Because even with a front programmable radio, out of the box, there's going to be a lot of features you're not going to have access to if it's not enabled. And it's just a check mark in the box, or it's adding zones, adding conventional personalities. You've got so many options in the CPS that you have to go through, and I mean it takes time to do. It's not something that you can just pick up and do. It's something you've got to actually study and know what you're doing when you do it, because it's so layered and it's got to be synced in so much with all the different layers in the code plug. If you want the channels to scan, they're going to have to be linked up, and they're going to have to be in the conventional personalities set to the scan list to scan. And you've got to watch the numbers when you do it, and you've got to make sure you're doing it right. But again, that's just a little selection of the different types of mics that you can get for these radios. don't get a Commander 2 for 2500. It will not work. These will work fine, no problem, but Commander 2 will not. But anyway, guys, take it easy. That's all the time I want to spend on it. And 20 minutes, I can't do a video under 20 minutes. I can't believe that. Anyway, guys, take it easy later on. Oh, I will put a link to the video on the APX-XC. Man, those are killer, and you'll like to watch that video. You know, if you're a member of the fire department, volunteer fire department, whatever, or just an APX fan, you'll want to check out that video because those are really, really cool mics. But the GPS mics are very good. Commander 2s with and without channel selection are very good, and these are very good. You can't go wrong with any of these mics. Public safety mics, you've got to deal with an RF adapter, which goes right between the antenna and the radio, and then you've got to have the tool to actually tighten it down. It's not something that I really like. I do have that RF adapter. You've seen those. If you have the RF adapter, like I said, you can put it in a vehicle, and you know, if you've got the converter comm, you just slap it in there, tighten it down, and you know, you've got the signal transferred to the outside antenna. And if you've got an amplifier or signal booster, you know, you can run, I think, up to about 45 or 50 watts out of them. Those are very expensive on these radios. But again, these all these mics will work with the XTS5000 and 3000 series. GPS will only work with the 5000, but the features on this, except for the GPS, will work on a 3000. And also these will work limited. They will, I believe, work on an XTS2000. I think there may be a couple limitations to them, but from my experience, it seemed to work all right. Channel selection, I just can't remember. I haven't really messed with the XTS2000s very much. I'm going to probably get some more in, but anyway, that's pretty much it. Take it easy, guys. That really got in more of a software rant than I really wanted to get into. But these mics are what's available for these units. They're very good. If you want a public safety mic, more power to you. But I've had them, I've sold them, I don't like them. But anyway, take it easy, guys. Later on.